The main purpose of my channel is to show people how to grow their own fruit and vegetables, no matter what size garden, allotment or growing space they do indeed have, or the amount of time they have available to dedicate to gardening. I sometimes get asked the question, how can a busy person get into gardening? And today I'm going to give you 10 gardening hacks on how a busy person can be a great and successful gardener. The first hack is to be aware of your individual situation and circumstances. So your work, your responsibilities, do you have dependents? Do you have to work very long hours in order to make ends meet? Do you have a big garden, a small garden, no garden at all? Do you have an allotment? Do you have a windowsill that you can grow on? What you need to do is to make sure that your gardening efforts are tailored to your individual situation, and if you do that, you will find you will get much further. So one classic example of this could be your physical situation. You know, do you have a bad back? Have you got aching joints, or are you totally fit and able-bodied? Ask yourselves these questions and tailor-make your efforts towards your own situation and circumstances, and I think if you do that, it will serve you very well indeed. The next hack will be to give yourself time. Take a long-term approach. Once you've decided that gardening is for you, don't try and do everything all in one go. Take your time, give yourself time to learn, to acquire what you need, time to get the experience. Don't try and cram 5 or 10 years worth of work and knowledge into 6 months. It won't happen. Relax into it and allow it to happen naturally. Hack number 3 is to build on your success. Work towards getting something right, okay? Might be some chili plants on a windowsill, or a tomato plant, or a cucumber plant, a small area of your garden or an allotment, and then build from there. Success builds success, so what you want to do is get a lot of success behind you, and the momentum should help carry you through. If you start doing too much too soon, you will likely make mistakes, get things wrong, and maybe get a little bit despondent and discouraged. But I think if you build on your success and gently work in that direction, that'll help you and take you a long way. Dedicate a small amount of time each day to gardening, whether it's actually the act of doing some gardening or some learning. So if you did 10 minutes a day, 6 days a week, that's 1 hour per week, 52 hours per year. These little bits of time all add up. Of course, if you've got time to do a bit more and the means and the will, then of course do a little bit more. If you have to do a bit less, do a bit less. But over a period of time, 1 hour a week is 52 hours per year. That's a lot of learning and a lot of time on the job, if you will. Make gardening a part of your life. So if you're especially busy and you want to do that 10 minutes of learning every day, that 5 minutes, maybe when you're cooking dinner, something like that, doing the chores, you could have your phone on, you could have the TV on with a YouTube video on, so you're not actually devoting time, if you will, directly to that, but you're still learning whilst you're carrying out other tasks. And I think for busy people, using time to its best advantage will help to get you a long way. Enjoy the little things, so enjoy purchasing the seeds, enjoy sowing them, enjoy seeing when the seedlings come through and when the flowers come. I think if you do that and you realise you did that, that can be very, very satisfying indeed. Such as this melon variety Petit Gris de Rat. Grow what you like. Pumpkins in compost bins, for example. Potatoes for hearty sustenance. Grapes for dessert eating or wine, or both. Pears. Apples. Hardy exotics such as persimmon and certain varieties of pomegranate. Tender exotics such as banana plants. Very curious things to grow. Know why you're growing something. Are you growing for sustenance? Are you growing for curiosity? Are you growing in order to keep an heirloom variety going? Are you growing something so that the bees love it for pollination? I think if you know why you're growing something and the goal that you're aiming for, this will enable you to work more towards where you're going, a clearer view, and it should hopefully help to get you there that much quicker. don't agonise over every single little detail. This is one thing I find many people, particularly beginners, end up doing. Now, I'm not advocating people be blasé about things. For example, these blueberries and the tea plant here, they require an acidic, ericaceous growing medium of 4.5 to 5.5 pH, and if you try and grow them in a growing medium outside of that, you will end up running into problems. But with that being said, you don't need to get everything 100% spot on, okay? Of course, it's great if you can. An example of this will be my grapevines here, which I've got growing up against a southwest facing fence. So many people are aware that grapes will do best up against a south facing wall or fence, if not that, a southwest facing wall or fence. So there's many ways that one can train grapevines, but the way that I grow them, basically to do with keeping them relatively low maintenance, is I grow them up against a fence here. I've got a few little things I tie them onto, but largely I just let them do as they want to. And what I do is prune them at the correct time of year, and I will be removing some of the leaves soon so that the sun rays can hit the grapes, thus increase the sugar content and help to ripen the grapes. But there are many different ways that you can prune so many things, you know, grapes, apples, plums, pears, cordons, espaliers, so many different ways. But if you end up getting into all of this, it's quite a lot and could be potentially overwhelming. Now, of course, when one gets to the more sort of advanced or intermediate stage of gardening, if there is such a thing, then maybe one can start to look into that sort of thing. But certainly in the initial stages, and for a particularly busy person, you know, going down that road may not be the best thing. So the best thing to do is to not try and put the icing on the cake before the cake has been baked. Now, there is a warning to this, okay, particularly when one is carrying out permaculture style gardening. So what you put in now, in a few years, maybe quicker than you think, could be a lot bigger than it is now. So one example of this could be something like conifers, which are absolutely beautiful and majestic in the right place, but quite often you see huge conifers in people's relatively small gardens, and then it becomes a problem in terms of expense getting them removed or getting them shaped or reduced or something like that, okay? And of course subsidence issues and things like that with certain trees as well. So these things must be considered, okay? My next hack is not to compare. So, if one walks down the street and sees an absolutely beautifully kept and immaculate garden with lovely flowers and shrubs everywhere, or one turns on the television and sees a huge beautiful landscape all looking lovely, one can then look at their own ground and think, oh goodness gracious me, I'm miles behind that. And you know, for these people and these gardens to get to these situations, it might have taken many, many years of hard work, many, many years of learning and knowledge and acquiring specimens, okay? If you're new to this or you're incredibly busy, then if you compare, you could end up feeling quite despondent. So I think it's very, very important that you're very mindful of your own situation and then slowly work towards where you want to get to. You know, that garden that you're seeing looking immaculate right now, that veg plot or whatever, probably didn't look like that once upon a time, but it does now. These things do take time. The majority of things in life worth having take a lot of effort and a lot of hard work, okay? And if you're a very, very busy person, you may not be in the situation in order to have something like that right now. Doesn't mean you won't have it in the future, which is why I always say, look long term. Set your stall out for 5 years, okay? You know, I think about what the project here looks like now compared to what it looked like 5 years ago. Goodness gracious me, very unrecognisable, okay? So really, really take your time, relax, don't demand too much of yourself, and slowly, slowly work towards where you're getting to. And I think if you adopt that approach, it will be much more effective than going in too much, too far, too quickly. And a bonus gardening hack for you here, have fun. Okay, you've got to enjoy this. This is supposed to be enjoyable and pleasurable. It's supposed to augment your life. It's supposed to add to it, enrich it, okay? You can learn new skills. You can develop new communities. You can improve your nutrition. You can exercise doing it. You can benefit nature. And there are so many things. And it starts off small, okay, and it grows into something beautiful. You know, you think of an oak tree. You know, that saying, acorns become oak trees. You know, Your garden, your plot, whatever, could be something absolutely beautiful if you slowly start working towards it. You know, if you live in a flat or an apartment, or you rent a room and you want to have that beautiful in there. Now, I've seen pictures of people that have got absolutely lovely flats adorned with beautiful houseplants and flowers. It's absolutely amazing what so many people can do. Window boxes, and you too can do this as well. So there we go. I think you get the idea of where I'm coming from. There are 10 plus 1 bonus hacks, so 11 hacks, which I think will help you in terms of gardening if you're a very busy person. Please feel free to comment down below. I'm going to leave a load of videos on the screen, and of course, if you like my work, please feel free to like, share and subscribe so that you're notified of any new videos I put up. Okay people, enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much for viewing.